Apparently, the Browns are not willing to give Josh Gordon another shot. I don't really know how I feel about this. I don't know if Josh Gordon is going to be relevant in fantasy football ever again. Bobby, where are you at with Josh Gordon? I mean, are you drafting him at all in MFL 10s? Are you thinking that he's never going to play again? Where do you stand on the whole Josh Gordon issue?
I imagine that he will play at some point. I am nowhere near as high as the highest people are, so I'm not drafting him in MFL 10s, but I would draft him if he would fall to me. There's just always one crazy guy in a league of 12 who's like, Josh Gordon's going to be the greatest receiver ever, and that's just not the case. You look at what he did when he came back, and he was pretty good. I think he can be a wide receiver 3, maybe a low-end wide receiver 2 for fantasy football if he gets a chance to play, if he's in the right offense, and if he looks serious about football. That's his ceiling, though, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't really think it's worth getting all that excited for, but, we'll see which situation he ends up in. I think he's going to play.
Yeah, I kind of hope he does. I mean, he was a talent. I mean, we saw last year in the preseason, we saw him make a few moves. He had Brent Grimes looking silly, and then Brent Grimes turned out to be one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL last year. Yeah, so, I mean, I think there's still something left there. It's just a matter of who's going to take a chance on him. Dan, have you given any thought where you think that Josh Gordon might fit in with an NFL offense right now?
Well, I think it's important to remember the fact this guy's still just going to be 26 years old. So
good point.
The talent is there, but I mean, granted, he hasn't been on the field since 2014. I mean, for me, I sort of had my fantasy funeral on him, a couple years ago. I'm sort of done investing in him. Now, that said, if he landed in the right spot, I mean, certainly he's going to show up in my rankings. He's certainly going to show up on the cheat sheet. But the guy, quite honestly, I'll likely avoid because with this layoff, with the issues, just too much baggage for me at a position that, let's face it, it's as deep as it's ever been in fantasy football.
Well, it's true. Now here, I'm going to give you guys a real quick, I want your on the spot thoughts on this. Let's pretend that Josh Gordon, Jerry Jones decides, I'm going to take a chance on this guy.
Ooh,
if
I like that.
If Josh Gordon lands in Dallas, where do you rank him among your wide receivers? What range would you put him?
I would definitely say that he'd still be given the layoff, given the situation. Plus, I still think Dallas is going to be a run-first football team. He's not going to be the first weapon there. So for myself, I would probably still have a tough time getting him into that wide receiver 3 range. I think he's somewhere between 30 and 40 in the ranks.
Exactly.
And probably a little bit more of an asset in a standard league than he would be in a PPR, I would guess.
Yeah, I would think he'd be a better MFL 10 asset because he's going to have those games where he'll probably blow up, but I don't think he's going to be anywhere nearly as consistent as someone like Dez Bryant would be.
If we knew that Josh Gordon was going to play, the league average 14 games for a wide receiver, because the average is 2 injured games per season, and that's all spread out, of course. But if we knew Josh Gordon was going to play 14 games, I'd rank him somewhere 22 to 26 maybe. But because he has all that risk, I mean, who's to say he's just not going to get suspended again if he does sign with Dallas, right? So I have him in the 30 to 35 range right now if he was to make that move.
Yeah, I don't think that's bad. My question more is on where I value him on Dynasty. I own him in a few Dynasty leagues. I don't know what to do with him. I'm just holding hope that he signs with someone. I could sell it basically, on name value alone and just kind of be done with the issue.
Yeah.